I'm looking at all of this and I find myself saying, it's
I'm watching all this unfold and thinking, wait a second, did someone actually just mock Aja Wilson's contract? The same Aja Wilson who dominated the entire league, just won MVP, and didn't even leave room for a single opposing vote? That's wild. Because what we're looking at isn't just basketball, it's history repeating itself. Back in '97, Sheryl Swoopes became the first to hit that rare 3-time MVP mark, and now Aja's joined that exclusive club alongside Lisa Leslie and Lauren Jackson. But here's where things get spicy. Sports host Dan Patrick just claimed Caitlin Clark brings more overall value to the Fever than Wilson does to the Aces. Let that sink in. Even though he admits Aja is the best player in the league right now, he says Clark's presence changes everything. Merch, ticket sales, TV deals, all of it. So today, we're breaking down the shocking truth behind Aja Wilson's contract, the hidden link to Caitlin Clark, and the wild twist that's turning the WNBA world upside down.
This was in 1997, and then she's now one of 4 players that have 3 MVPs under their belt: Sheryl Swoopes, Lisa Leslie.
Let's rewind for a second, because before this whole contract drama even started, Aja Wilson had already made history. September 22nd, 2024, the day she officially cemented her legacy as one of the greatest ever to touch a WNBA court. That's when she captured her 3rd straight MVP title, joining a list so elite, it basically defines the word legend. We're talking Sheryl Swoopes, Lisa Leslie, Lauren Jackson, and now Aja Wilson standing right beside them. But here's what made it even more jaw-dropping. She became the first player in league history to earn every single first-place vote, all 61 of them. Not one person doubted her dominance. And if that wasn't enough, she shattered Diana Taurasi's 2006 record by averaging over 25 points a night and becoming the first player ever to drop 1,000 points in a single season. That's not just greatness, that's complete control of the game. When she stood up there holding that MVP trophy, she told the crowd, "This trophy is meaningless without the reason why." It wasn't about her ego, it was about what she represents, the grind, the resilience, and the message to every young player who's ever been underestimated. And as she thanked her teammates, she made sure the world knew this wasn't a one-woman show. The Las Vegas Aces were built different, a family, a force, and the core of everything that's changing women's basketball forever.
The Indiana Fever made the playoffs. They didn't play last night, but thanks to Las Vegas with a win over Chicago and Phoenix.
But here's where things take a wild turn. Right after that historic MVP run, the conversation around Aja Wilson's contract started catching fire, and once you see the numbers, you'll understand why fans were outraged. Back in July 2023, those rumors started swirling, and people couldn't believe what they were hearing. Aja Wilson, Olympic gold medalist, 3-time MVP, face of the league, is only making $200,000 a season. That's a 2-year deal worth $400,000 total. You heard that right. $400,000 for a player who's redefining what greatness looks like. To put that in perspective, there are NBA bench players making that in a single game, and yet Aja, who literally carried the Aces to multiple titles, is stuck with a paycheck that doesn't even come close to her real worth. Sure, the WNBA is planning a major salary cap jump in 2025, reportedly reaching $1.5 million, and Wilson is set to benefit big time. But right now, her contract looks like a bargain deal for a franchise that's sitting on gold. Fans are asking how a player who dominates every stat sheet and fills every arena can still be so undervalued. And honestly, that question cuts deep because it's not just about money. It's about respect, recognition, and a league finally starting to understand the true price of star power.
I hope you understand your worth. I hope you understand how much growth that you have and how special you really are in this league, and to me and to everybody.
And that's where the conversation exploded. Because when fans started realizing how undervalued Aja Wilson's deal really was, whispers started turning into full-blown debates. Was there something deeper going on? Was the league playing favorites? Even Aja herself hinted at it, mentioning agendas and bias in ways that made people stop scrolling and start listening. And the moment those words hit the air, you already knew who was going to get pulled into the conversation: Caitlin Clark. The rookie phenom from Iowa, whose name became bigger than the game itself. Everywhere you look, TV, billboards, endorsements. Caitlin's face was there. Her arrival in the WNBA was treated like the second coming of basketball itself. And while that kind of spotlight is rare, it also created tension because some players started feeling like the league was pushing her harder than anyone else before. Remember, even Sheryl Swoopes, one of the legends Aja just matched in MVPs, openly questioned whether Clark would even succeed at the pro level. She literally said, "That's not going to happen. She won't dominate like that here." But here's the twist. Clark didn't just survive, she thrived. Rookie of the Year, triple-doubles, broken records, and an entire fan base that treats her like a global icon. Suddenly, the focus wasn't just about who was the best player, it was about who had the biggest impact. And that's exactly what reignited the Aja Wilson debate, because the league's most dominant star was being outshined, not by performance, but by popularity. Because then came the moment that changed everything, the Nike deal. Caitlin Clark hadn't even finished her rookie season when she landed the most lucrative shoe contract in women's basketball history. 8 years, $28 million, and a signature shoe before she even turned 25. That's not just a contract, that's a cultural statement. Nike saw what the world was already seeing, a movement, not just a player. And for the Indiana Fever guard, that deal turned her from a promising rookie into a global brand overnight. Fans weren't just watching her games. They were buying her shoes, her jerseys, her posters. Everything with her name on it was flying off shelves. Meanwhile, reporters like Dan Patrick started comparing her value to Aja Wilson's, saying Caitlin brings something no stat sheet can measure. And that's when things really got heated. Because while Clark was signing multi-million-dollar endorsements, Aja, the reigning MVP, was still on that $200,000 a year deal. It didn't sit right with people. It sparked debates about fairness, visibility, and how marketing might be shaping the future of women's basketball more than performance itself. And through all of it, Caitlin Clark stayed silent. No drama, no public feuds, just focused, letting her play speak louder than the noise. But that silence, it made her even bigger. Every highlight, every buzzer beater, every viral clip just fed the legend more. And suddenly, her story wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about the power of attention, the kind that moves culture and changes everything around it. But the media couldn't leave it there, because as Caitlin's fame skyrocketed, so did the backlash. Some critics began saying out loud what others were whispering online, that the league was showing favoritism and that players like Aja Wilson, who had carried the WNBA for years, were being overlooked. The debate turned ugly fast. Reporters and fans were suddenly dissecting everything: race, marketability, skin tone, audience demographics, all tangled into one messy conversation. And in the middle of that firestorm, Aja handled it with class. She didn't attack anyone, she didn't throw shade, but she did remind people that her value wasn't up for debate. She posted a photo, no caption needed, just confidence and presence. And that post alone said more than 1,000 interviews ever could. It was her way of reclaiming the narrative that dominance speaks louder than favoritism, and that excellence doesn't need validation from headlines. Meanwhile, sports journalist Ethan Strauss dropped a bombshell, saying companies were panicking behind the scenes, afraid of offending Aja's massive fan base, and now rushing to make things right. He claimed Nike and other brands were preparing new offers to finally give Wilson her own signature shoe line, calling it a course correction for a company that once led the culture but had started reacting to it instead. And that's when the story flipped again. Because suddenly, this wasn't just about who's getting paid, it was about who's being respected. And just when things seemed to calm down, the Las Vegas Aces were hit with another shockwave, this time from inside their own locker room. Out of nowhere, rookie guard Kate Martin dropped a bombshell on TikTok, announcing it was her last day with the team. No leaks, no press release, just a quiet video that sent fans spiraling. The Aces, the reigning champions, were losing one of their rising stars, and no one could figure out why. Early in the season, Martin had been a key spark off the bench, solid minutes, clutch defense, energy that fans loved. But in the second half of the season, her role mysteriously vanished. Coach Becky Hammon started cutting her minutes down to 5, sometimes less, And before anyone could process it, she was missing entire games, even playoff matches. The confusion turned into speculation. Did something happen behind the scenes? Was there tension? Nobody knew. And then, as if to seal the mystery, ESPN confirmed the news. Kate Martin was officially leaving the Aces to join the brand new Golden State Valkyries. Just like that, a championship roster lost one of its most promising young players, and A'ja Wilson's team suddenly looked more fragile than ever. But here's what made the moment powerful. A'ja and several teammates immediately went online, showing nothing but love and support for Kate. It proved something important about Wilson's leadership. Even in chaos, she builds unity. And that energy, that sisterhood, is exactly why the Aces have been able to dominate the league in the first place. Kate Martin's exit was only the beginning, because soon after that, more rumors started flooding in whispers that other key Aces players were also thinking about leaving. We're talking Kelsey Plum, Alicia Clark, even veterans like Sydney Colson and Tiffany Hayes names that helped define Vegas's identity. It felt like the dynasty was starting to crack from within, and everyone wanted to know why. Was it burnout? Contract disputes? Or was the Aces locker room finally feeling the pressure of being on top for too long? Whatever the reason, the uncertainty was real. But amid all that noise, A'ja Wilson stood tall, silent but steady, becoming the emotional anchor of the team once again. Reporters were questioning if she'd stay loyal to Vegas or test the market once her deal expired. But her response was calm and powerful. She said her heart belonged to the city that believed in her first. That single line stopped every rumor cold. Fans flooded her comments with love, players reposted it, and suddenly it didn't feel like the end of an era. It felt like a new chapter. The message was clear. The Aces might bend, but they won't break. Because as long as A'ja's leading that team, the fight isn't over. She's not just carrying a franchise, she's carrying the entire standard of women's basketball, and she knows it. And now, it all comes full circle. Because this isn't just about A'ja Wilson's contract anymore, it's about a league that's standing at a crossroads. On one side, you've got Caitlin Clark, the rookie who's rewriting what visibility looks like in women's sports, pulling in record-breaking viewership, ticket sales, and global attention. On the other, you've got A'ja Wilson, the reigning MVP, the standard of dominance, the face of excellence, who's proven that talent doesn't need hype to shine. Together, they represent two sides of the same revolution, one built on fame, the other on legacy. And as the WNBA heads into this new era, fans are realizing that it doesn't have to be one or the other. The league doesn't just need stars, it needs balance. It needs women like A'ja who set the standard and women like Caitlin who bring new eyes to the game. Because without both, the league doesn't grow, it divides. And that's the real story here. Behind all the stats, deals, and headlines, it's not about rivalry, it's about recognition. A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark are shaping a future that's bigger than any contract won, where every woman in the league finally gets the respect, spotlight, and pay they deserve. And if this season has proven anything, it's that the WNBA isn't just evolving, it's exploding. The new era is already here, and it's unstoppable. So, as the dust settles, one thing's crystal clear: we're witnessing a turning point in women's basketball. A'ja Wilson has proven she's not just a player, she's a pillar. The kind of athlete whose excellence forces the system to evolve. And Caitlin Clark, she's the spark, the face of a generation that's pushing the game into places it's never been before. Together, they're rewriting how the world sees the WNBA, showing that talent and attention can coexist when the respect finally catches up. The league's future isn't built on one superstar, it's built on all of them, on the fire, the grind, and the relentless belief that women's sports deserve the same energy, spotlight, and pay as anyone else. This isn't just a new chapter, it's a new book. And if you've been watching closely, you already know this is only the beginning. Because the next time someone questions A'ja Wilson's worth or Caitlin Clark's rise, just remember the WNBA isn't waiting for validation anymore, it's taking it. And if you've made it this far, you're one of the real ones. Hit that subscribe button, drop your thoughts below. Whose impact do you think defines the new era of the WNBA more, A'ja Wilson or Caitlin Clark? Because this debate isn't ending anytime soon, it's just getting started.